But I am here in studio with a returning guest, Daniel Laurent. Thank you so much for returning this year.
Thank you for having me.
You're a brave man. We always like to see that. You know, this is a celebration of joy. It's Juneteenth, but it commemorates something very serious. And I think before we talk about exactly what the celebration is, let's talk a little bit about why we even talk about it.
The point. So, very high level explanation. Is commemorating the end of slavery in the U.S. And it took like more than 2 years after President Lincoln issued the Emancipation, which I believe January 1st, 1863, I think. You know, fact check me and I'll buy you a shot if I'm wrong, right? But I believe that was a day. And then it's just a matter of, think about today with all the social media and we find out in real time that something is happening, right? The moment it happens. And so imagine finding out 2 years later that you were actually free. Like imagine if you worked in a company and everyone got raises and you didn't and you weren't aware of it and how you would feel, right? So I think it's to commemorate that. It's to also commemorate a time where a thing existed and that we moved past. But unfortunately, without getting into a whole thing, you know, there's a lot of remnants of old ways.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now we talk about Juneteenth because it happened in June. It was on the 19th. I believe it was was it Granger who came to Galveston, Texas?
Yeah.
And the only reason I knew that was because I used to live in Texas. And that's the first time I ever heard of this holiday, telling people that they were free 2 years after the fact. So this is where I think the holiday or the commemoration started there, and then it became more of a national thing. But here on the South Shore, there's a number of groups that get together. I believe you've been doing stuff with the Hingham Unity Council, but they have merged.
Yes. So we're greater together. So, you know, last year it was Hingham Unity Council. Now it's South Shore Unity Council, where it basically is encompassing, and we've all kind of joined forces, and people have different roles that they're playing, right? So I wanted to make it very clear because I think it's important to, one, partner, right, with the right people and with the right ideals and energies and all that stuff. And then also you want to basically acknowledge the partnership, because it's the worst thing when people are doing stuff and then you're a glory hound and you're like, it's me by myself. So, you know, shout out to everyone on the team. You know, I'm mindful to not name names. Katie, for sure. Katie, I think there's been, so Katie, Andrew, Deneen, there's a bunch of them. I don't want to be, I don't want to have to buy shots for more people. So
they're all doing stuff, and they all reached out.
Shout out to the team.
And I said
I
know that you've been the spokesperson.
Yes.
So it's June 19th, of course.
Yep.
4 to 7 p.m. and it's down in Hingham again by the bathing beach. And you've got quite a lot.
We changed the time because it used to be earlier. I think it was like 2 to 4 before.
Right.
We changed it because not everyone is off, right? And so people are still doing their everyday lives. And we wanted to make space for 2 reasons. One, again, not everyone's off. 2, what we noticed over the past couple of years where people would start to really start congregating at the end of it.
Oh, sure.
And then it's like, all right, guys, thanks for coming. You have to leave.
Now, if people have never been to this, again, 4 to 7 in Hingham down by the bathing beach on June 19th, what kind of things happen? Because I know that there's music, I know there's food, there's entertainment. It's a blast.
It's, I'll put it this way. It is intentional messaging.
Okay.
And so what I mean by that, and that could sound very loaded, I think the music from the artists that we have, it's not necessarily all social conscious and protest music. However, I think it's very intentional with the artists that we have. So Angeline and the Unit, unbelievable band, very well known. We have a hip hop artist, Oompa, who is unbelievable. She's going to be there. We have also Troop Fall West African Drum and Dance. And so they put on something that's very, very interactive. A legendary DJ, well, I don't want to say legendary DJ, but he is a legendary DJ, and his name is Jeff 2 Times. He's going to be, you know, providing a soundtrack for the day. I'm hosting, little old me, you know, but who cares? But, you know,
you're adoring public, I'm sure.
You know, and so it's so you have the music component. There's also going to be vendors, black and brown vendors. We're very intentional with having a celebration for something and making sure that the people who were impacted in some way, shape, or form are a part of the programming, right? So it's not as if kind of afterthought. So it's very, very intentional. So we have Merle's Kitchen, more Caribbean kind of food, Dominican chimneys, which, Dominican fare, Cafe Juice Up, so they have, more healthier options if people don't want to indulge and they're not carnivores. And there's others. Lemon Lush, I know, is another one. We're going to have a lot of different vendors who offer different things without me getting into a full tangent of my personal thoughts on certain things.
Okay.
We were very intentional about the vendors that are there. And what I wanted to make sure that we did was we had businesses, black and brown businesses, that the services that are provided can be utilized over and over again, and it's not deemed and classified as a black business and I'm going to do my good deed for the day, right? And so you have Candle Lux. They're unbelievable, right? They make organic candles, more like luxury, but the pricing is really good. But it's a whole production with them, right? So I don't want to speak about them. You'll show up and you'll see, right? It's a whole production when you make a candle.
Now, this is the 5th year that you folks are putting this all together. All these groups are coming.
Yeah.
In the past, when you've been doing this, obviously it's very popular. You get a good crowd. What kind of reactions do you get from people? Like especially people who didn't really know much about this at Juneteenth.
I think, honestly, just curiosity of what's happening, right? It's free, so people don't have to pay for a ticket. And nowadays, free is definitely a good marketing word, a good buzzword. It's family friendly, right? So unless you're taking your kids to go see Lilo and Stitch, it's not a whole lot that families are able to do. So we're going to have a lot of different activities and bounce houses and face paint and all those type of things. I think for people to come to an event that they're not really sure what it is, and for them to learn little nuggets and just be in community, right? And so it's joy, it's good energy, it's all these different things that's organically happening. It's people that haven't seen their neighbors in months, right? And so they're connected and, oh my God, you're here too, and oh, I've heard of them before, and and we're gonna have the Historical Society. We're gonna have a lot of did you know kind of scattered around, right? Because again, I think edutainment, if I can take from KRS-One, was education and entertainment, right? And we're being very, very mindful of, we don't want to preach to anyone. We don't want people to feel like they're coming to a conference or a lecture, but while you're there, you're going to get little pieces of nuggets. And hopefully when you leave, we can be more intentional about community and building space with each other, because I think more than ever in these times, that's what we need.
You know what? And if you feed them, they will come. People, isn't it amazing? You put out a little bit of food and some fun, and people want to be there, and they want to share. They want to share in the joy, and they want to learn a little bit about why this is so important and why this happened. Now, so people can Google South Shore Unity Council. I think they can Google Hingham Unity Council too to find out. It's
on the Hingham Unity Council website, for sure. But when you click on that, you'll see the new branding with South Shore.
Okay.
But definitely, and one thing I wanted to mention. We are also welcoming and looking for additional sponsorship, whether you are a company, whether you're an individual, whether you have $20, whether you have $5, whether you have 3 pennies, which I guess they're going to get rid of making pennies now, right?
Yeah.
It's a whole other thing. But I guess it takes 2 cents to make one. Well, never mind, I digress. Anyway, so if you want to donate pennies, I will personally come to you and count them with you, right? But no amount is too small. Please, this is super important, and we want to make sure that the artists are compensated. We want to make sure that the vendors, and we fronted a lot of the fees to just allow them to be able to have a day of profit, right? Because as a small business, small black business, it's extremely difficult. So again, anyway.
I know you're going to get a great turnout. Of course, we're speaking with Daniel Laurent. He's going to be hosting this Hingham Bathing Beach, June 19th, 4 to 7. It's a Juneteenth celebration. We'll put this interview up on our website, too, so people can go back and listen to more. I know you're going to have a terrific turnout. And as always, we appreciate...
From your lips to... What did I say? From
my lips to God's ears, is that it?
Yes.
Wow, that's a big ask, but I know it's happening. And we certainly appreciate you coming in today. Like I said, we're going to put this up on our website, and we know you're going to have a great turnout. Thanks for coming in today. You're very welcome. I'm Christine James, 95.9 WATD.